Hi everyone, Dave here. Hope you're good. Thought I'd do a video today about what some certain narratives are, really powerful beliefs that have been imposed upon people, and the really overt contradictions within those beliefs. So that's what I'm going to talk about, and you can let me know what you think. So yeah, just looking out the window, it's raining, like a heavy drizzle. I'm off for a night walk later. Take the torch, go on a nature walk with some friends, and then we'll repair to the pub. So I'll have to make sure that I put my waterproof on for that. Anyway, so back to the content of the video, back to the topic at hand. We, as I've remarked before, on many occasions, we do live in a time where conformity is paramount for many people. And the need to conform and not stray from the crowd is a very, very powerful motivating factor for, I think, every human being, actually. Part of the process of becoming who we are is to learn when not to conform, when to stand out from the crowd, and when to truthfully articulate our beliefs. But right now, even though we are living in a time where everything's changing, the last few decades, I think, have been marked by, more than anything else, by this homogenous conformity. A lot of the time to certain ideas that are so contradictory in nature, it's almost unbelievable. I'm going to give you some examples, because what I've noticed is that the people who seem to buy into these media, deep state, establishment-backed narratives don't for me seem to see the inherent contradiction and nonsensical kind of theme behind them. Like I say, I'll give you some examples now. So take the National Health Service, the NHS, obviously set up in 1948 in the UK. State-run health service that for me is definitely not fit for purpose, has been polluted by what I would describe communist influences, like every other organisation. But the narrative around the National Health Service is that it must be publicly funded and free for the public, even though it's not, because we pay for it. So that's a con anyway. Well, not a con, but it's a mistruth. Because of course something like a health service should be paid for. But the question is who? So the very same people, as far as I can see, who demand that the NHS should be publicly run, state-funded, are also the same people who hero worship, who deify the COVID vaccines, who obsessively test themselves as well, using lateral flow tests. Now the question there is then, who's supplying the equipment for the tests and the jab? Well, the answer is private companies, to the tune of tens, hundreds of billions of pounds. So I don't understand that. I don't understand how you can passionately advocate for a state-run health service where the concept of any discussion around privatization or part privatization is taboo. And I'm not arguing for one way or the other. I'm just saying there's a contradiction. How you can have that and also at the same time basically, as I say, deify products of private drug companies or companies who produce these testing kits. So that's the first one. Closely following on from that, I think another narrative of our time is obviously climate change, man-made climate change. I mean, I've done one or two videos on climate change, and I will do more as we go forward, because this is going to be one of the next weapons in the arsenal of the tyrants, as anyone who's paying attention will know. And I have an active interest in the weather. I'm not an expert in climate change or anything like that, but I am interested in weather, and I can spot some fundamental flaws in the argument that climate change is real and that it's man-made. I really can. Again, I've not reached any conclusions myself. What I'm saying is there's no proof. Evidence on both sides, but similar to the COVID narrative, only certain scientists and certain voices are allowed. But back to what I was saying, the people who are driving the climate change agenda, the environmentalists, they don't seem to have a problem, though, with the fact that there are billions and billions and billions of these test kits made of hard plastic that are being discarded, and even more so, those despicable, disgusting, abhorrent, filthy, unhygienic face masks that you see littering the countryside. So if you say to one of these environmentalists, okay, I take your point, great that we don't have the plastic carrier, we've got a levy on the plastic carrier bags, we don't have the plastic straw, great, don't have the plastic straws, don't have the carrier bag. What about the masks though? You know, how many disposable masks have you worn this year? Radio silence, another massive contradiction. Doesn't make any sense. And the point I'm getting to with this video is that we need to be able to understand when our beliefs are such that they're backing us into a corner where we've got no room for manoeuvre, where there's no room for compromise. We need to understand sometimes where our own beliefs can make us look absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sure I have my own. Well, I will do, you know, because part of being a human being is that we are prone to hypocrisy and contradiction and stupidity, yes. But I'm talking about these very, very damaging narratives that are presiding over society at the moment. Let's look at the European Union. I mean, I've talked a lot about Brexit. And in time, what happened in the wake of that vote to leave the European Union in the summer of 2016 will be reflected on more deeply in terms of the anti-democratic sentiment that was expressed by many, many people in this country, and how various different organisations and the media, deep state, tried to sabotage the vote. That's not being properly reflected on yet because of the advent of the COVID era, but it will be in time. It will be. It might take another 10 or 20 years, but it will. I talk about it in my book, actually. My upcoming book, which I'll do another video about. But the European Union, so you'll have these fanatical Remainers who still can't get over the fact that, people in the UK voted to leave the European Union. They still can't accept it, some of them. So everything about the European Union is brilliant. It's a perfect ideology. So you could say, okay, well, what are your thoughts on what's going on in Italy, in Germany, in Austria, in France? Very prominent EU member states. What are your thoughts on the EU's Green Pass? Silence. Absolute silence. So this land of milk and honey, the European Union, actually, as far as I can see now, has become authoritarian to the extreme. Different countries to different degrees, yes, but all presided over by the European Union. And I look at this country, I look at England in particular, and I'm starting to realise now that vote to leave the European Union was one of the wisest decisions ever made. And I've changed my view about politics and elections and democracy. Referendums are a little bit different because they are very, very, that is very, very direct democracy. It's a very stark choice. And when the people make the choice, they're very, very, very clear about what direction they want that country to go in. So referendums different to elections, I feel. And I really do feel that was a very, very wise decision by the British electorate, and that is being vindicated now. That's my own personal view. It's another contradiction for you. How about we talk about what's another one I was thinking of? Bodily autonomy. So let's talk about bodily autonomy. So bodily autonomy, the ultimate right, human right, a sacred right to choose what goes into your own body. And it's something that's a topic that has been discussed, that is being very, very at the forefront of many people's conversations and their lives in the last year since the advent of the jab rollout. And I want to bring in abortion here. And again, I am not giving any opinion on abortion. I'm neither pro or anti. It's very, very complex, and I believe each case should be judged on its individual merits. But again, as part of this plethora of accepted and very, very neatly defined opinions, which are on trend, which are pushed by the media, which all right-thinking people should have, what I can see is that when it comes to abortion, it's the right, the primacy is with the woman, not with the fetus, every single time. I feel that the energy and the narrative and the endorsement in that debate is given disproportionately, massively disproportionately, to the rights of the woman rather than the rights of the unborn child. And again, this isn't me giving my own personal opinion, it's me merely observing what I'm seeing. Yet the same people, and again I'm generalising, and I know there's some generalisation going on in this video, the same people who are most vocal and pro right of women to abort baby also appear to be the same people who are most aggressively trying to coerce people into getting a jab. It's another massive contradiction. And I see it all the time. That's probably the biggest of the lot, except it's not. And I'm going to come to the biggest of the lot now. But again, it's the people who are pushing all these narratives and these beliefs on people and clamping down on people's right to express an opinion that's different to theirs. The be kind types, the be tolerant types, the equality and diversity types, and they're not kind, they're not tolerant. They don't appreciate real equality. Equality of what? Diversity of what? They don't. They often call themselves liberals, and they're not. They're anti-liberals. And when you take everything I've said there into account, and you really examine these beliefs, and as I say, it's a set of beliefs that are very, very close, neatly defined, clearly defined, and you can't have just 9 of the 10 prescribed beliefs. You must have all 10. You can't just dip in and agree with little bits and then disagree with other bits. You must make sure that you are ideologically pure with all of these things, because that is what the establishment demands that you must think. That is the overriding and very powerful narrative that has invaded the minds of so many people who have enslaved themselves to these beliefs and thus don't realise the inherent contradiction in them. And taking it all into account, we've reached a nadir in our ability to be able to converse as a society and to debate, to make sense of things, and to find our way through the fog and the confusion, because these people value only some lives. And this has manifested and presented itself in the last 2 years with the utter and bizarre obsession with people who have died from COVID, many times with COVID. Now let me say right here, right now, because these are also the same people, generalising again, who will say you don't care about people who died of a virus. It's like, actually, no, I don't care about them because I don't know them. I don't feel any more sorry for anybody who's died of a virus than anything else at all. I don't. It's sad when anybody dies, but I won't directly feel that sadness if I don't know the person. I tell you what will make me angry though. What will make me angry is if decisions have been made by the very people in positions of power who buy into all these narratives, paid off, nice bit of money, paid off, have no souls, who create the policies that result in the deaths of people who should never have died. Because nature will claim. We are in a battle with nature. We always have been. Nature will claim lives. And now we can say that the origins of the coronavirus, yeah, absolutely. Was it created in a lab? Probably, yeah. But you understand the point I'm making. The people who've died of suicides, the people who've committed suicide because their small businesses have folded or they just couldn't take it anymore, the people who've died because of missed cancer screenings, missed cancer treatment, they couldn't get a GP appointment to be able to diagnose the cancer, and the people who've died as a result of a jab, a COVID jab, like my dad. And the same silence that you are met with by the people when you talk about the pitfalls of the European Union, the NHS, their stance on bodily autonomy, you bring this in, and again, nothing. Radio silence, or sometimes conspiracy theorists. And why have I done this video? Because it's so important to develop independent thinking and to recognise the flaws in our own, the way we perceive the world ourselves, to make sure that we don't become so ideologically indoctrinated as many people have been, buying into these ridiculous, absurd, nonsensical stances and ideas and ideologies that will not tolerate any dissent whatsoever. Fundamentally flawed, though, and nonsensical. So let me know what you think of what I've just said there. You know, I'd be interested to hear your views. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe, and I will speak to you all soon. Okay, bye-bye.